So Nikkei players are a little divided. On the one hand, there are players that are very happy with the announcement that was just made, and on the other hand, there are people that are very unhappy with the announcement that was just made. The announcement in question specifically pertaining to the introduction of a hard pity system. And after watching the video, I would love to hear your guys' opinion specifically, whether you think this is a fair pity system, whether you think it's too high, whether you like what they're doing with it. Any and all feedback helps shape the future of the game. I've been playing a lot of this. I am halfway through stage 5. I have yet to hit a physical wall that has inhibited my progress. I have been playing this game very casually. I put in maybe an hour or two into it per day. I have been having immense amounts of fun streaming this. This is the game that is so much different to what I was anticipating it being. And despite people complaining about their lack of SSR waifus, admittedly I've obtained quite a few. This is off of what I think a grand total of 5 10 pulls, but that is not what we're here today to discuss. On the contrary, we are here to discuss their introduction of a pity system. Before we jump into this video though, I do want to thank all of our incredible patrons over on Patreon. You guys do not need to support Mrs. Stix and I, but you still choose to, and trust me, it is appreciated beyond anything I can convey verbally. You guys are incredible, and admittedly, if you have a moment, follow Mrs. Stix and I over on Twitter. We'd really appreciate that. Now, this Reddit thread was sent to me via Discord. It goes on to state, Nikkei unveils its pity system. 200 pulls for pity on event banners. How does this compare to other similar idle games? And I do want to note that they did confirm that yes, it is 200 pulls, but if you successfully pull the banner character, your pity does not reset. So if you pull the banner character after 50 pulls, you'll still be 50 pulls through your pity, which means that you could continue and pull it again at 150 pulls. Then once you reach 200 pulls, you can opt to either carry over the hard pity or select the waifu that's currently available on the banner. Now their mail goes on specifically to state, we expect to launch a version update of Goddess of Victory Nikkei on November 10th. That is November 9th as recording this, so I guess the servers are going to go down for maintenance, and then when it comes back up, the new character Helm, which is an SSR waifu, is going to be available to recruit. The chance of getting SSR Nikkeis in Special Recruit is 4%, and the chance of getting Helm specifically is 2. Special Recruits grant gold mileage tickets. 200 gold mileage tickets can be used to exchange for 50 Helm molds in the mileage shop. You're guaranteed to get Helm by using 50 Helm molds. Unused gold mileage tickets will not disappear after Special Recruit. They will always belong to you. Ariel Lander here goes on to state $800 to reach pity. Seems pretty expensive if you're paying cash. Otherwise, 15 months of weekly and daily missions adjusted for the one-time gems included in the event, which seems kind of stingy in the context of gem cost, rarity, and utility, but at least the pity rolls over. It's not the worst system by far. A lot of games don't roll over your spark currency or turn it into less useful currency when the banner is over. Utterly Nowhere goes on to claim that Nikkei needs a soft pity, somewhere around 40 to 60 or 30. Actually, I think Punishing Grey Raven has a soft pity that is fairly low, around the 40 to 60 mark as well. And honestly, they do pretty well with it. Dupe wise, it's much more lenient compared to other idle games. I think AFK Arena requires around 18 copies. I think actually Nikkei only requires what, 3 or 4 to get your character to max level 200. So realistically, you're ultimately going to be pulling a lot less for your waifus than you would in other games. Raw Bacon and Egg says the fact that it gets carried over into the next event banner is great news. Even if it needs 200 pulls, you can always build it up until the ones you really want. That's what I was stating earlier in the video. And Mimics here goes on to actually make a nice TLDR. The negative is that 200 is quite an amount when the game itself isn't that generous. Stingy. 200 pulls is 60,000 gems, and you can't use normal tickets on banners. And 200 is a very large number, I will admit. The positive is you don't need anywhere near the same amount of dupes as you do in other idle games. The average number of copies in other idle games is around 13 to 15 Is that real? Do you really need 13 to 15 copies on average to max your characters in other idle games. I'll admit I've only ever played, I think, one other idle game, but I've never attempted to push the game competitively to a point where I hit that juncture in gameplay where I needed to ascend my characters by using dupes of them. You get 1 mileage ticket per 1 summon, which never disappears and can be used for future characters rather. For example, let's say you get the featured character at 199 pulls, you still get the character and keep the 199 mileage tickets, which means you can get another copy or a guaranteed future banner unit in 1 more summon. In most other games, if you get your character at 199, it just resets, which is where I think that the pity system in Nikke is actually going to be kind of fair. I hate when you hit your pity and it resets. I think Tower of Fantasy actually had it right in how they did it as well. They allowed for you to continue until you hit your pity cap, and then they allowed for you to get a guaranteed character even after you had acquired the character while making your way towards that cap. I might be wrong. I think that's how Tower of Fantasy did it, and I think that is something that more gacha games honestly should do, because even if you continue to fail, it's nice to know that you're going to get a guaranteed waifu once you reach that cap. But if you don't fail and you actually obtain the waifu before hitting that cap, it's nice to know that you can get a dupe and advance them further, or instead save what you've accumulated thus far and get a future waifu. That's a plus plus. The only issue is 200. Which is an absurdly high number, but definitely nowhere near as high as some of the other more popular gacha games that I've seen. Now, I think that this is a little bit excessive. 200 is a high number, but at the same time, I feel like this is a somewhat fair pity system. I do not think it's bad. I do not think it's great. I think it's somewhere in the middle. They could definitely improve this a little bit. I'm not sure if they will. They probably won't, but at the same time, I'm happy knowing that I can get the banner character and I can continue to make progress towards the banner character even if I don't obtain her. And if I do, it's nice to know that I can either advance her further or save what I have and get a future waifu in a future banner. I'd love to know what you guys think though down in the comments below. Please just take a minute here and let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, because they matter. Now, if Nikke is not your thing, if you're not having fun in it, or you haven't even played it, absolutely no problem. I got 2 videos on screen right now. One is featuring a very interesting looking Yuri game that is coming out early 2023. The other is featuring a list of gacha games that are coming out this month, November 2022. These are both videos you need to take a look at and watch. You're welcome.